do not get Botox. Like, I got it thinking that it was gonna make me look younger, and it did not. I literally look exactly the same. 1, 2, it makes you look like you have a stroke. Like, literally, like.
This is just me having a meltdown. I get married tomorrow, and the smile, everybody keeps walking by and looking at me like I'm weird. Like, that's me. I'm really trying, guys. I'm really trying.
Your unsolicited eye update, still closed.
Something strange has been happening to faces online, and it's not something that happened all at once, which is probably why it took so long for people to really notice it. It happened slowly, quietly, almost politely, until one day you start looking at people on your screen and something feels slightly off, not necessarily in a dramatic way, not in a way you can immediately explain, just off. Like expressions don't fully land the way they used to, like smiles don't quite reach where they're supposed to, like faces are becoming harder to emotionally read. And once you notice it, it doesn't really go away, because suddenly you start seeing it everywhere, in celebrities, in influencers, in people who don't even look like they're trying to look the same, but somehow do. And that's when the thought starts forming in the back of your mind, not as a statement, more like a question. When did faces start changing like this?
No, listen, this is a real family. This is what you're building. Showing me there's a
face ages ago and he's still laughing. It wasn't during it.
Okay, this is what it was like, right?
I'm sorry, it's my fault.
You're giving me
the feminine tropes.
And the strange part is, it's not that people suddenly stopped aging, it's that aging itself seems to look different now. Or maybe our expectations of what a normal face should look like changed fast.
Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Sam from Pixie. Today I'm going to show you how to do a quick and easy Dita Von Teese makeup. Hello ladies, gentlemen.
Hey everyone, so today we're going to do this look using the Hello Kitty 2 Dolly palette. Right, I really love it. It's this palette right here.
Hi everybody, so we're back with a really awesome look to add to our runway collection look. This is from Blue Marine.
Listen, a lot of y'all have been talking about Instagram and how it used to be. I just came across some of my old Instagram pictures and like, people on this app are not lying, okay? When Instagram first started, right, you would just post random pictures of your food and like blurry selfies.
This was like a regular, like you would just post regular mirror pictures like this. I mean, this was on like a super blurry like phone or whatever, but like that, honestly, like this was actually a pretty good quality picture in 2012.
Face wash, cleanse skin, rinse and pat dry, toner, press into skin, vitamin C serum to brighten skin, hydrating serum to hydrate skin, hydrating cream, moisturize skin, SPF, rub into skin, lip balm to hydrate lips. All done.
If you try to trace when this started, you don't really find a single moment. There isn't a clear turning point where everyone agreed that faces should look a certain way. Instead, what you find is something much more subtle, repetition, because social media doesn't introduce ideas in a dramatic way. It introduces them through exposure. You see something once and it feels unfamiliar. You see it again and it becomes interesting. You see it enough times and your brain stops treating it like something unusual at all. And that's where things start to shift. Because the first time you see cosmetic procedures online, it still feels like a procedure, something clinical, something you would think twice about. But after enough exposure, it stops feeling like that. It starts feeling like maintenance, like something routine, almost like skincare. And that shift is more important than people realize, because the moment something stops feeling medical, it also stops feeling serious. And once that happens, the pace of normalization speeds up dramatically.
Go get Botox at Upkeep Med Spa in North Dallas. Today I'm getting Botox on my jaw to really give me a slimming effect.
Yeah, I don't want to do too much.
Gotcha. Right now, I think if you wanted a slimming effect, we would do 30
Okay.
to make it go faster.
Nurse Lana is just cleaning my skin and marking me so she can see where she's going to be injecting. And did it hurt? Honestly, it doesn't hurt at all. So here's the results after 2 weeks. The difference is actually really subtle. You can get the same exact treatment or any other service for 30% off using the code Gonzalez30.
At some point, cosmetic procedures stopped being associated with transformation. They started being associated with prevention, not fixing something that exists, but avoiding something that hasn't even appeared yet. And that idea alone changes the psychology completely, because now people aren't responding to what they see in the mirror. They're responding to what they imagine might be there later. And that creates a kind of anxiety that never actually resolves, because you're not chasing a fixed result anymore. You're chasing avoidance.
This is not my face. I'm going to show you my face. But these filters have just went too far. If I had this face, I would be robbing men. I should anyways, but I would be robbing them. You best bet I'm going to make some thirst traps with this filter. But hang on. Now that's a damn catfish right there. It's been a long day. But give me all your money.
So this is the filter that's breaking TikTok, the bold filter, because this isn't what I look like. And I'll show you what I look like, but yeah, my brows seem like they're lower and my nose looks a bit narrower. It looks like there's a bit more contour to my cheeks as well. Lips look a bit fuller. Let me see if you guys agree. And without the bold, we can see the eyebrows are a bit higher, nose is a bit wider, and there's less contouring to my cheeks. That's a dangerous filter. There's going to be some serious catfishes out there with that one.
You guys, social media is so fake. I need to show you the skin filter that I just found.
There's another layer to this that's even more subtle, and it has nothing to do with procedures at first. It has to do with exposure, because before social media, most people grew up seeing a relatively limited range of faces, people around them, people in their environment, people in their culture, faces that had variation, imperfections, distinct features, different proportions. But now, that range has been replaced by something much more uniform, because the internet doesn't show you variety in a natural way. It shows you what performs well, and what performs well gets repeated, and what gets repeated becomes familiar, and what becomes familiar starts to feel like the standard. So over time, you don't just see faces online, you start learning what a quote-unquote good face is supposed to look like, even if nobody ever explicitly says it. And that's where the shift happens, because once a standard exists, people naturally begin moving toward it, not because they are told to, but because everything around them reinforces it. And slowly, you start noticing something uncomfortable. Not everyone looks identical, but everyone seems to be moving toward the same idea. Same smoothing, same lifting, same refinement, same reduction of anything considered imperfect. And over time, individuality starts shrinking without anyone consciously deciding it should.
Is anyone else noticing it, or is it just me? Why are we all becoming the same person? Like every girl that I see on the internet when I'm walking down the street, I feel like everybody looks the same. Either everyone has the same plastic surgeon or is getting their lips done from the same person. But I feel like we have lost like true authenticity.
This phenomenon called Instagram face, where we're all slowly starting to look the same. Same makeup techniques, same cosmetic procedures, all trying to fit within that beauty standard. Back then, we used to celebrate originality and embrace uniqueness to the point that no one looked the same. I think it's time we bring that back.
Have you noticed a lot of celebrities are starting to look the same right now? This is a huge trend and we have to talk about it. This phenomenon stems from famous people undergoing similar procedures, such as getting filler or rhinoplasty, and similar makeup like the same contouring patterns to adhere to the same beauty trends. And it's worse on social media where filters, which literally push the measurements of everyone's face towards the similar, this prevents people from looking their best as it forces a standard on them that doesn't naturally match their face.
Human beings are extremely sensitive to faces, not just in a visual way, but in an emotional way. We don't just see faces, we read them constantly, without thinking. We detect emotion through micro movements, tiny shifts in expressions, small changes in the eye, the mouth, the forehead. That's how we understand people, and that's how we build trust. So when those movements start changing, even slightly, something in the brain reacts, not loudly, not consciously, just a subtle feeling that something isn't aligning the way it should. And that feeling is what people describe online as uncanny, or AI-like, or strange. But it's not really about AI. It's about emotional readability, because when a face becomes harder to read, it feels less human to us, even if logically we know it is. All the interviews feels different for a reason. It's not nostalgia alone. It's the level of emotional movement. People weren't controlling their expressions in the same way. They weren't managing how their faces appeared frame by frame. They were just reacting. And that creates a kind of natural unpredictability that we're not used to seeing anymore. Modern faces, on the other hand, often feel controlled, not fake, not unnatural in an obvious way, just controlled. And control changes how emotion reads on a face, because emotion is supposed to move, it's supposed to shift, it's supposed to be slightly messy. And when that movement is reduced, even subtly, the emotional signal becomes harder to interpret.
Okay, so I just want to warn people about Botox. This is what happens when it goes wrong. I literally cannot stop smiling on this side of my face. It's not me being happy, this is just stuck like this. Hi guys, I just want to share a Botox procedure that I did a week ago. It was injecting the wrong spot, so I ended up with a droopy eye and also a bigger eye. I called my primary doctor because I was very scared. It never happened that to me before. So he prescribed the medications I've been taking for a week. I just want to raise awareness. Before you go to a place and get your Botox done, try to research the place and also who the injector is.
Tell us about Botox gone wrong.
So this happened early on. I was like, let me try Botox masseter injections. My dermatologist at the time treated me as he was instructed, and it was way too many units for me. He did 30 units either side for 3 rounds, spaced 3 months apart, and the lower part of my face just collapsed because when that much volume loss from the muscle atrophy happened, it's going to sag, it's going to have laxity. I spent years after that trying to correct what had happened. It was so gradual too. But then it got to a point I looked in the mirror and I was nearly unrecognizable.
And by the way, once cosmetic procedures became fully normalized online, something else started happening alongside it. People stopped treating them like medical procedures, which is strange because they still are. They still involve injections. They still affect muscle movement. They still change how parts of the face function. But online, the framing shifted. It became casual, routine, almost aesthetic. And that shift matters because when something medical becomes normalized as lifestyle content, people stop perceiving it through a risk lens. They start perceiving it through a visual outcome lens. And that changes how seriously it's understood.
Do you ever think you need Botox? You don't. You really, really don't, especially if you don't have a game plan and you just ask the person injecting you for their recommendations and you think it's normal to get Botox like it's getting a new pair of nails because everyone in LA has Botox and every influencer and every celebrity you see has Botox. You don't need it! You don't need it! You don't need it because one of my eyes is smaller than the other eye. That's not even the worst part. The worst part is I can only smile from this side of my face. This side doesn't move. I actually can't feel my face at all on this side when I drink out of a straw. That's what I look like. I can't make half the facial reactions I used to be able to make. And I kind of hate it. Actually, I really hate it. And I don't recognize myself in the mirror, so...
And sometimes that shows up in subtle ways. A smile that doesn't quite move evenly. A moment where one side of the face reacts slightly different. An expression that feels delayed, not extreme, not dramatic, just slightly out of sync. And those are the moments people online pick up on without always knowing why. But what's more interesting than the results themselves is how casually they're discussed now. Because the same platforms where people talk about skincare routines are also the platforms where procedures affecting facial movement are shown in real time. And after enough repetition, even that starts to feel normal.
Dissolve my filler with me. So I'm showing you a session using my own face of dissolving filler. I've had a lot of filler over the years and I decided I didn't like the look anymore. So the first step will be to mark the area that I thought was overfilled or not flattering. And then using a special enzyme, I'm injecting right into the marking. So I really trust my marking. And then I inject and the dissolving agent will take a couple of days to work. It's magic. And the filler will completely dissolve.
When you start to look at her before and afters, you immediately think something here is off. The obvious is this weird pout shape that she has in her lip filler, but I think it goes way beyond that into her cheek filler. So you see there's actually no discerning junction between her under eye and her cheek, and having that very smooth plane looks very unnatural to our eye. So even though she has no wrinkles, she doesn't really achieve that youthful look we're going for. So even if your goal is to look like you have no wrinkles, that is not the same goal as looking youthful.
Everybody ages. Even you young Gen Zers, you'll get old too. So why are people giving Justine Bateman hell for having aged naturally? not doing fillers and Botox, etc. For her part, she says, I don't give a S word. I think I look rad, and I think my face represents who I am. I like it. She goes on to say that if she would have had plastic surgery and fillers, she thinks it would erase who she is, erase all the authority that she's earned for herself over her time. Good for you, Justine.
There's a strange contradiction happening now. Some people are trying so hard to avoid aging that they end up accelerating a different kind of visual tension, because youth isn't just smooth skin, it's movement, it's softness, it's emotional range, it's expression. And when those things are reduced too aggressively, the result doesn't always read as younger, it reads as altered. And sometimes that creates the exact opposite effect of what was intended, not older in a natural sense, but older in a visually unnatural sense. And that's why there's been a shift recently. More conversations about dissolving filler, about natural aging, about facial harmony instead of facial modification. Not because anything suddenly changed overnight, but because people are starting to notice the pattern.
I regret getting forehead Botox. Forehead Botox is usually a very beginner-friendly procedure. It's relatively low risk, so a lot of people get it as their first procedure ever. But it's probably the procedure that I regret the most. These are my 3 main reasons from personal experience, and if any of these apply to you, you might probably want to reconsider as well. Number 1, if you have ptosis, even a very mild case like me, you should probably not get it. So I have to use my forehead to open my eyes wide enough so that it doesn't obstruct my vision. And Botox works so that it limits your muscle movements. Number 2, you should reconsider forehead Botox if you have a very expressive face, like me. So again, when Botox limits your muscle movements, you're still used to making the same facial expressions, but your muscles don't allow you to. Not only does that make your facial expressions extremely unnatural, but it also leads your surrounding muscles to overcompensate. I literally had a permanent migraine for 3 months straight, and it drove me insane. Last reason, probably the most important one, in my opinion, they never get it right the first time.
But even with all of these, I don't think the core issue is cosmetic procedures themselves. I think it's something much larger, something slower and harder to notice in real time, because every app now functions like a mirror, but not a normal mirror, a mirror with filters, with comparison, with constant ranking, with endless exposures to curated faces. And when you combine all of that long enough, it doesn't change beauty standards, it changes perception itself. And I think that's why this feels so hard to talk about, because it doesn't happen through one decision. It happens through thousands of small ones, until one day you look up and faces just feel different than they used to. Not worse, not better, just changed. And maybe the most disturbing part is how normal it all feels now.
If there was a beauty pageant and there were 10 contestants and I was one of them, I wouldn't be the go-to winner. However, and I'm not saying that self-deprecatingly, like I'm not trying to look down on myself. What I'm saying is, you need to be okay with other people not finding you beautiful. That shouldn't define your own beauty.
If you made it this far, I appreciate you watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think beauty culture is shifting too far or just evolving? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Creators' handles are in my description box. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.